If you've ever wanted to know how to do basic Kumihimo braids, this is the video for you. Keep watching and I'll show you what you need to do to get started. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button below. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. So come on, let's get started.
My name is Carrie Wright. I'm owner at Classic Cottage Art and Antiques in Bowling Green, Virginia. And I love to encourage and teach people to make beautiful jewelry, paint beautiful furniture, and make beautiful home decor items. We're going to be doing, it's a ancient type of braiding, really. It's called Kumihimo, and all that really means is Japanese board braiding. It's actually very relaxing. Traditionally, when I first started doing this, I looked it up, and the way that it was done on a stand in front of the person with weighted bobbins, and they moved 2 cords at a time. I'm not that coordinated, so I'm very glad that someone created the Kumihimo disc. Comes in 2 different sizes. I know this is backwards, sorry I couldn't get my camera to turn around. Comes in 2 different sizes that we carry at the store. And there's also a square version, which is a little more difficult to do, so we won't even talk about that one tonight. The cool thing is we're going to learn the basic version tonight, which is with just cording, and I'll get you down where you can see in just a minute. But you can also do it with beads. Beading I consider as more of a technical way to do this. It's not hard, it just you have to pay a little bit more of attention if you're going to do it with beads. It really doesn't take too many tools, and it's a very good travel type of craft. So you can make bracelets out of this. This is cool because you could make a choker style, but it's also a wrap bracelet. The lighting might not be, here we go, how about that? So it could be a wrap bracelet as well. You can make it long and make necklaces out of it. You can actually use just about anything that you can braid. These 2, oops, they're magnetic bracelets. These 2 were done with the braiding cord that you get in the kids section at like Walmart. It gives you some really bright variety of colors that you can use. You can use hemp cord like this, or brighter colors. If you're going to do Kumihimo with the beads, you're going to need a very fine cord that's called Eslon. Let me show you this. So this is the beaded version versus what we're going to do tonight is just the cord, the basic version. So let's get started. Oh, I did want to say you can make a long one into a wrap bracelet, but then you can also make it shorter if you don't want to take the time to go longer. Alright, so you don't need a whole lot of supplies. You do need a Kumihimo disc. And these also come in a little bit thicker for the thinner cords to have more friction to hold them. You need these little gizmos here. These are called no tangle bobbins. They work like this. You flip them up, and then they hold your cord. I can't get it. There we go. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Alright. Now, whoops, come back here. I like to put weights on my Kumihimo work. I have used fishing weights, like 3-ounce lead weights, but not everybody wants to have lead, so this isn't a good option. I'm not sure what the weight of this one is, but there are 2 different weights. They're not heavy, but what they do is they create tension when the braid feeds from the back of the board. Alright. Now, the only other thing you really need to get started is cord. I am using Rattail cord, 1 millimeter, and I usually use about 1 yard. Now, a couple of different things you want to take into consideration. You're going to need 8 cords. Basically, you need 8 cords for this Kumihimo braid. You can have 8 different colors of cord if you like, in which case you would tie a knot at the bottom, and then you would attach your weight to that. Okay. I like to simplify life a little bit, and well, the other thing is when you tie a knot like this, you have 2 ends to finish. when you do it like I'm getting ready to show you, only have one really an end to finish. Now, to save you from watching me wrap bobbins all night, here's what I do. I take about a yard, and my sample's a little bit shorter, and I fold it in half, and then I put the folded end through the hole. Can you see that? So here's how you set this board up. Let's turn it this way so you can see. These numbers generally really have no significance at all at this point for this braid, so just ignore them. If it confuses you, turn it over. What you do want to pay attention to, though, is the black dots. So I'm going to take, where did it go? Here, let me get untangled. I'm going to take one cord and put it on one side of the black dot at the top of the board. And I just tend to like the light dark look. And another one there. Then I'm going to turn it to find the next black dot here. I'm going to put my next cord in there. I'm going to put a different color there. Now, here's where you get to make a decision on design. At one point, I figured it out where I could tell you if you get like an all-over braid, kind of like this one, or this one's probably even better. Do you see how this is got kind of an even braid? Sadly, I can't remember how that goes. So I did write myself notes for a spiral, because it's really cool, because once you start braiding, it looks like a spiral. All right, so to do that, whatever color that you have here on the board, you're going to put opposite and over one. Same thing on this one. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to put them opposite each other, kind of catty corner. And my weight is in the middle, and that'll make more sense when we start braiding. Okay, so you see how the board is set up? So I've got dark here, and then light here and light here. Dark and dark, light and light. Should create a spiral when we start braiding. Okay, now it's very, very important that you put your bobbins on. Now I'm going to wrap these up a little bit tighter. But what happens is, as you're braiding here, it also gets braided down here, and you get a very tangled mess. Particularly if you're using a very long piece of cording, you're going to get a tangled mess if you don't use the bobbins. And you can make this as long as you want. The cool thing is you can cut your braids apart and make all manner of different things. So here's how you operate this here bobbin thing. I like to hold it here. Come here. And then just wrap. Not real technical, but, and then flip it closed. So I'm going to tighten these up just a little bit. I just don't like them hanging super duper long. Your cat might like to chase them while you're doing this. All right. That should work. All right. It doesn't really matter where you start on the board. There's no right or wrong where to start. But I do have a little bit of a tip for you. I'm going to get this weight in here a little bit better. Okay. Now you want your weight, can you see this, in the middle? You want it to hang in the middle so that it pulls evenly down. All right. So I like to start this with the words at the top of my board. I'm going to try to do this so you can see and I can see. So I tend to like to start with the words at the top and start on this set of chords right here. So what you're going to do, and my I don't know if the word is mantra, but my technique is to say, as I do this, and I've been doing this for years and I still do the same thing, right hand up. Now, when I go right hand up, I'm going to put it, I'm not going to cross over. You never ever cross over. You always go, the chord was here, and it goes straight up to here, right next to the ones at the top. All right. So now I've got 3 chords at the top. So I take this one here, and it goes right next to the one here. So, and that would be left hand down. Now I got to do it this way so I can see. And then the next part is turn. Okay, so I'm like this, and you turn 1/4 of a turn. And because I'm doing this upside down, I may not be able to tell what I'm doing here. Okay. Yep, okay. So the next one's going to be, I could do it, I tell you what, let's do, let me turn this way. Oops. And then we'll be doing it together. How about that? There we go. It's going to look backwards to you, but, so I do right hand up to the next one. I let go, and then I grab the board again and take my left hand and pull this one down to here. Now you'll notice these cords have moved away from the black dot. That's fine, just ignore that. So now I'm going to turn it. Okay, so if you'll notice, the ones that you've just done are wider here, and the ones that you have to next time do are closer together. So again, we're going to go, this is all there is to it. Right hand up, left hand down, and turn. You're turning 1/4 of a turn. Whoops. So we're going to go right hand up, left hand down, and turn. Okay, now when you get good, you're just going to kind of go like fast like this and then turn. Okay, so it's, whoops, come back here. Right hand up, whoops. Yep, see how far apart they are? That's what's telling me that I'm in the right spot. Right hand up, left hand down, and turn. Again, remember, you never cross them over each other anywhere. So it's right hand up, left hand down, and turn. Right hand up, and we're going right next to this one. We're going to let go, we're going to grab the disc with our right hand, and we're going to pull it down with our left hand. And then we're going to turn. Now, what happens if the phone rings while you're doing this? If you lay this down, you're not necessarily going to remember which side to start from, right? So, what I always recommend, go right hand up, and always leave 3. Always leave 3 on the board like this. Okay? So if I lay this down, whoops, if I lay this down, I automatically know that I've got to start here. And then I can just pick it up and come right, come back here, come back down to here, and then turn. So again, we're going to go right hand up, left hand down, and turn. Okay. It's starting to come out yet? Let's see. It's starting, but we're not there yet. So I'm just going to kind of go real quick and do it kind of in real time. Hopefully you can catch up. Right hand up, left, come back here. And this may come out wonky because I'm looking at the screen and trying to do it too. Right hand up, left hand down. And if you're left-handed, just whatever works for you as long as you're doing the same way. What you do want to do is make sure you turn in the same direction each time. And sometimes on one of my discs somewhere, you'll see, because I can't remember which way I turn sometimes, sometimes I'll mark an arrow for which way I'm turning. Okay. Yeah, I did on this one, you can see it better. I mark which way I'm going to turn. Okay, so right hand up, left hand down, and turn. Now, what happens if your bobbin starts getting close? You just kind of pull it out because the cord will pull out very easily. So it's right hand up, left hand down, and turn. Again, we're not crossing anywhere. And I'm going to stop for a minute, so I'm going to put right hand up and look and see if we've got any braid coming out the back. And sure enough, we do. Don't know how well you can see that. But we do have a little bit of the braid coming out, and it is starting to do a little bit of a spiral. So I'll do a little bit more. Remember, I stopped here. I did right hand up, so I'm going to go left hand down. and I'm going to turn. I might fall asleep with these bobbins beading together because they're very relaxing. So right hand up, left hand down, and turn. Remember, the wider ones are the ones you've just finished doing, and the ones you have to work on next are the ones that are closer together. So right hand up. Let's see if we can get going where we can see the braid actually, what it looks like. Right hand up, left hand down, and turn. And honestly, it doesn't take very long at all to produce a fairly long braid. And turn. Right hand up. And let's see what we've got. Oh, here we go. A little bit longer now. Can you see? I don't know. There we go. And that is really all there is to it. As far as finishing goes, you have several options. What you do want to do, when you take the braid off of the board, here's one I've worked on previously, and it could probably come off the board. It was just a sample. Excuse me. You're going to want to hold it right here, and you're going to take all of the cords off of the board. Oh, come back here. And ideally you would have taken the bobbins off, but I'm going to grab it here. And I've just been playing with this one. So once you take it off, and even if you have bobbins left, that's okay, where you've got a long cord, you're going to want to tie a knot so it doesn't all come unbraided. So you're just going to tie like an overhand knot so that it lands right, oops, where'd it go? There we go. Just to hold it for right now. And then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut it off. I'm going to set these aside for later. Now, oops, and then this is where I've used the fishing weight on this one. For if you've done it like this, where I've just tied it on, I'm going to cut this off because I don't need that anymore. If you're, oops, there it goes. If you're going to use the Kumi weights that have the little alligator clips on them, just unhook it. I'm going to pull this out of this little. Now you see, by using cords that we've folded over, again, can we see this? There we go. Cords that we folded over, we have an end that's fairly finished versus an end that looks like this, right? So before you do anything else, though, you need to release the tension on this braid. And to do that, basically, all you do is you hold it and you just pull it. And you stretch it out. And I usually do it in both directions, because as you braid, you're creating tension. And it's if you don't release the tension, it'll lay all wonky like this versus nice and smooth like this. Okay? So we're going to, and these knots are just knots I put in it just to see what it would look like before. They're decorative. Okay? So basically I'm just going to release the tension on this braid. And as far as finishing goes, you have a lot of different options. You can do a macrame type closure, and you would start your piece with macrame, but you would, where'd it go? Just make sure you pick a button that is going to work with the loop that you've made. Okay? Okay. You could do a macrame ending, or you could do endings like this. These are findings that are made for cord ends. Actually, let me get it undone here and I can show you. Come back here. Here we go. And these just glue on. They come in several different sizes, and it's a little bit, I won't say hard, it's just a little bit time consuming to put these on. Lately, I've actually been trying to do more of the macrame loops instead. You could just leave a loop big enough. You could tie a knot knot, well, yeah, kind of a knot, and start your braiding at the knot and have a loop there and use that for your closure. You could try that too. These findings, though, they come in different sizes. This is a 4mm, and that usually works really well for this 1mm rat tail. They come in 6 and 8, and they actually come in 3mm as well. Oops. So the bigger your cord, you know, you're going to want to match it to your finding if that's the route you're going to go. So these are some other ones that are other sizes. Whoops. You can see they're a lot larger than the one I have. That's for a huge cord. Basically, all you do for that is you're going to want a very fine, and this is the way I do it. Some people do it a lot differently than me, but this is the way I found that works really, really well. For the finished end that you have here, you really basically, and I don't have one that size, do I? Of course not. That would make too much sense. Okay, here we go. All right, basically, you're going to have to do a little bit of compression to get it to fit in there. So what I do is I take some Fireline beading thread. This is a 6-pound test, and I just take a very fine beading needle. It could be a size 10 or a size 12. You could even do it with sewing thread, but if you use sewing thread, what will happen is it will add material to it and be a little bit harder to go into the finding. Okay, so I tend to use this, and I'll sew through very, very tightly several times, and then I will put 2-part epoxy and then glue it into the finding. On this end, you would do the exact same thing, but you would start down here with beading thread through here. You would take a little bit lower, so make sure when you make your braid, you make it longer than you think you need, so you can adjust it. Okay, so then you would just sew it and then glue it into your finding, and then add whatever clasp you would like. You know, I have a magnetic one on one of these other ones. This is just a little lobster claw here. The other cool thing that you can find for these things, you can make these into necklaces, and there we go. They make these sliding bails, and you can make a necklace out of it. And these are made to go over Kumihimo, which is kind of cool. And then you would just hang your pendant. You could make a pendant from wire wrap a pendant, and then hang it off of your Kumihimo cord. That would be a really pretty necklace, and it doesn't take all that much time to do it in. But Kumihimo is a really fun project. It travels very well. I usually take it to doctor's appointments and things like that, so I can just sit there and make Kumihimo. I have a friend who actually used the Kumihimo technique to make a cord for her dinner bell. If you look closely, it's really kind of like a rope making type technique. So you could probably even make purse handles for it with this technique. You know, you can do all kinds of things with Kumihimo. So thank you again for watching, and if you know somebody who might be interested in this technique, you might want to just pass this along to them so that they can learn along with us.
So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.